Become unrecognizable. Reinvent your life. Have the ultimate glow up. All mean the exact same thing, but get repackaged year after year. Maybe it's because content creators in that niche know it's one of the best content to create, because as people, we are always looking for a solution for what we perceive as problems, whether it is actually one or not. However, one critique I have about this topic is most identity transformation content often oversimplifies what is actually a complex process. While these trends promise quick transformations, they typically gloss over several key problems, such as unrealistic timelines that create false expectations about how quickly meaningful change can happen, an overemphasis on external changes such as appearance, social media presence, etc., rather than deeper internal work. The tendency to treat identity as something that can be completely discarded and replaced rather than evolved. Lack of acknowledgement of how privilege, resources, and support systems impact one's ability to quote unquote reinvent themselves. The constant pushing of the idea that your current self is somehow insignificant or fundamentally flawed if you don't follow their direct steps. So, in other words, these approaches often ignore the value of integration, bringing together past experiences, lessons, strengths with new aspirations, instead of promoting a disconnected view of personal development that can leave people feeling more lost than before. And if you relate to feeling that the advice given just doesn't seem like it's working for you, even if you're doing the early wake ups at 5 a.m., the reading daily, etc., or if you're just looking for more information on identity work, stay with me, hang out, grab some tea or coffee, and let's get into this month's topic of identity and transformation. Before we start, I should probably back up and introduce myself. So, hey listener, my name is Aledra, but you can call me Lay. And if you're new here or returning, welcome to A Little Atypical, your cozy corner on the internet where we explore all things wellness, leveling up our personal growth game, and just chatting all things lifestyle. So originally I was going to call this episode Why Everyone Needs a Blank Canvas Era, but I figured that is definitely a little bit too niche to have as its title. But what I want to describe as a blank canvas era relates to the symbolism behind blank canvases. So if you look it up, it could symbolize a chance to reinvent yourself, a way to show the world who you are, and a reminder that every day is a new start with possibilities. However, perception is relevant here because some people may look at a blank canvas and feel excitement because of all the perspectives I listed before, or you would feel overwhelmed at the idea that there's so much possibility. This is where self-deconstruction work comes in, because no matter whether you feel excited, uncertain, overwhelmed, it can benefit you to understand where your beliefs, values, and thoughts come from so you can live more in alignment and understand what beliefs you want to let go of or use to redefine for yourself. Self-deconstruction is the process of examining and dismantling the various elements that make up your identity, beliefs, and behavioral patterns. Self-destruction isn't about erasing who you are, but understanding the building blocks of your current identity so you can consciously decide which parts to keep, modify, or release. This process involves questioning the origins of your beliefs, examining how your experiences have shaped you, and recognizing which aspects of yourself are authentic versus those that you adopted to fit in or to please people. It's like carefully taking apart a structure to see how it's built and what materials were used and what components are still serving its purpose. So many of us operate on autopilot, guided by beliefs and behaviors we've never really examined. I have done a lot of episodes in the past about being on autopilot, and if you're interested in the topic, I would specifically listen to episodes 29 through 33, because that was a time I was looking into intentional living and being on autopilot. So if you're interested in that element of personal development, I would go back. Also, I'm currently working on my show notes that is on my blog, which will be in the description box below. Episodes 29 and 30 are already posted, and this month it's supposed to be episodes 31 through 34 to do the show notes on. So I would recommend just subscribing to the blog site if you want to see more show notes. But anyways, back to what we're focusing on today, which is self-deconstruction, which has several roots in philosophy and psychology, such as existential philosophy, social constructivism, and narrative psychology. Self-deconstruction allows us to identify limiting beliefs that holds us back from growth, recognize patterns that we inherited from family, culture, or society that may not align with our true values, and understand the difference between our authentic selves and the personas we've created for protection or acceptance. Overall, just create space for intentional reconstruction based on conscious choices rather than conditioning. So since in last month's segment about digital wellness, I didn't put much of my story into the content because I really wanted to keep it factual and research-based, but I also understand that being more open about my current process would hopefully make this community feel a lot more seen. So for the past year, I've been kind of on this journey of getting to my roots. It's not the easiest thing for me to do because realistically, I really have only one side of family that I know. And to put it bluntly, because of that and the relationship I have with them, I have just been looking at the subconscious beliefs I developed and how it affected my views in other areas of life like friendship, love, work, etc. Family and like my ancestry and my home life in terms of area of life, I didn't put much effort in because deep down I knew if I look at my experiences in those areas, I was so afraid of what emotions and thoughts would come out. And in terms of areas of life, everything else just felt more important to get a handle on. Like ever since 2021, there were so many physical changes. I was questioning if I went through puberty as a teen because everything I experienced as soon as I turned 20, I can't even describe. So health felt like the most important, followed by career, education, and finances, because truthfully, it felt like those things are what we spent our entire lives working towards, which did make me one-track minded and left little room for everything else because I was either comfortable in those areas, felt little desire to make changes in those areas, or was flat out avoiding to change in those areas. So if you listen to all of my old episodes, and I hope you can notice a difference in my voices because even with re-listening, I would like to think I have had a lot of growth. But anyways, if you listen back to my old episodes, you'll pretty much get the fuller picture of how that led to me crashing and burning after my first post-college job. I also broke up with the person I thought I would marry, and we were together for about 4 years. It was gonna be 5, but and how 2024 was a year of just recovering and finding myself truthfully after doing what I thought was right or what I believed I was supposed to do. I was just in a haze. I felt the physical manifestations of stress, and I just remember having thoughts like, if this was the right thing, why am I not happy? Why does everything feel so wrong, but I don't know what's wrong? And I'm saying this because I want to keep moving forward instead of keep learning the same lessons like a revolving door. And yes, that is a reference to Tape because that album has been one of my faves lately and it's on my mind. But anyways, usually I'm not super open about what I'm working on and what I'm feeling, but March, my word of the month is renew. And something about my intuition tells me this month will be a huge transformative period, and I've been called to do things a bit differently than I have been and try things new, especially in areas of life that I haven't done lately. I had to make a lot of decisions as of lately because someone once said manifesting is deciding. So I've been making decisions, and truthfully, setting up for some of those decisions have been terrifying. But I also know they intimidate me because of how right and aligned they feel. Like, you're afraid to go through the process of change because you know it would probably change aspects that you're not ready to let go of. So that's like the type of feeling I'm having. So, with that being said, I wanted to end off with some journal prompts that really helped me get started on my self-deconstruction journey. And I hope by sharing these, it would help you too. So grab a notebook, grab a notepad. You could type it in your phone if that's what you want to do, or you could just listen back whenever you need to. Identity origins. What part of my identity feels the most authentic to me, and which parts feel like they were imposed by others? Which 3 adjectives would I use to describe myself? Where did I learn that these qualities were important or valuable? What roles do I play in my life, and how much of my identity is wrapped up in each of those roles? Belief systems. What are my core beliefs about success, relationships, and happiness? Can I trace where these beliefs originated? What shoulds dominate my thinking? Examples of this are I should be more productive, I should be further along in my life, etc. What would I believe if I hadn't been raised in my specific family, culture, or time period? Patterns and behaviors. What patterns do I notice repeating in my life? Which serve me and which limits me? When I feel threatened or uncomfortable, what defense mechanisms do I default to? Where did I learn these responses? What parts of myself do I hide from others? Why? Values clarifications. If I had 1 year left to live, what would become important to me? What would fall away? What 10 values do I claim to hold? How do my daily actions and choices reflect or contradict these values? Whose approval am I seeking through my actions and choices? So that is all for today, but be sure to come back for the rest of March because we'll be discussing so much more about identity. Next week will be about letting go and releasing parts of self, since after the whole deconstruction process, which is really about clarity and understanding, the next natural step is letting go of the aspects that no longer is serving who you are becoming. So since this month is probably going to be busy with people trying to reset their goals, start their new goals, because some people prefer to start fresh and their quote-unquote new year is in the spring. Typically March is also always like midterm season for spring semester for college students, or the start of testing season for other age groups. Not only do I want to keep the episode short and sweet this month, I also want to use my self-care oracle deck for this theme. So while I know I usually say my goodbyes to the people who typically don't like the card pulls, I just want to say how these cards are just self-care activity ideas that you can try, and it might be a good idea to stick around till the end. For this episode, we got card number 9, which is clean your space. Mantra: when my physical space is clean and tidy, my mind is clear. So this is what the card says. Giving yourself the gift of a clean space has a ripple effect. It allows more things in your life to fall into their rightful place. By clearing and cleaning your surroundings, you can also declutter your mind. Start with cleaning your bedroom and then work your way out to all corners of your home. Don't just stay on the surface. Take the time to clean inside the cupboards and the drawers, sort through your old paperwork, and get rid of the dust bunnies. Also review the objects you've collected and consider opportunities to donate or sell things you no longer need. As you minimize the number of belongings in your space, it will become easier to clean in the future. Notice how having a clean space makes you feel energetically clear. Create a routine that will allow you to keep it up. To start, it could be as simple as making your bed each morning or keeping an area like your desk organized. Let it grow from there. Journal prompt. What cleaning project are you dreading and why? What support would you need to get this project finished? So this was the perfect card since, as I mentioned, it's March. It's about being renewed and starting fresh. So it kind of said all that it needs to. I think it was very straightforward how it really connects, and how deconstruction is really about getting clarity, clearing the space emotionally to start, the process of getting rid of, figuring out what to keep. And honestly, the card is just a physical manifestation of that. I don't want to say too much because I have an update. And as you guys know, I always try to find the good in whatever situation I'm in. And after talking to my brother a few weeks ago, we spoke a lot about how time is a gift right now. And even the book I'm reading, which is Mastery by Robert Greene, emphasizes that true mastery takes time and patience. It got me thinking about how grateful I am for the time I have right now, even with the certain drawbacks, because I'm happy to have this time to truly discover myself. And with that being said, I realized one of my biggest stressors is the fact, despite having control of my time right now, I still function like someone who doesn't. So I decided this spring I want to shake things up and change the posting day back to Thursdays to see if that's a better day for uploading. And then instead of trying to post vlogs on Thursdays, I'll move that to Sundays to see if it creates a better content schedule. I didn't want to just change it without giving a heads up because I am truly grateful for the way this podcast expanded this year, and I hope to keep putting in my best efforts for this community. That's it, my friends. You're a real one for making it to the end. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of A Little Atypical. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who might need to hear this message. Remember to view the description box where you can find important links such as one to my website where there's more bonus content. Until next time, have a good day, evening, or night, and stay authentically atypical. Okay, bye.